so he's not going to be the chosen son. I wouldn't have thought, but anyway, stranger things have happened. There was some big names got it wrong yesterday. Well, the weather was wrong, quite frankly, and they got themselves upset within the time trial. 26 kilometres then out, which means, Brian, that we are shortly going to have our golden kilo for the break.
Yeah, we turn right off this main road and start heading towards that point, and I think maybe like yesterday, I'm not too sure if we'll get a major battle from the 5 riders in front for that point, as Tony Gallopin gets some service to his bicycle at the back there. He'll be important because Andre Greipel's up for this stage. He's won it in the past, 2011, and he'll need all the help he can get, and Tony Gallopin is a rider that will be able to help Greipel in this finish today.
Let's see if that's the case. Well, the industrial part of town here. Yeah, a lot of agriculture here, a lot of dairy as well. Not seen too many dairy cattle, but there you go. Oh, and it's a full bike change, I'm afraid. This is rear derailleur that looked like it was the issue. You can get that with debris, lots of other reasons as well, but the bike hasn't been down. Indeed, swaps the bottles. Has he carried his power meter over? No, he's left it on the other bike.
Bottle's important more than the power meter.
Yep, exactly. He's experienced. Will not exactly ride to numbers today because it's going to get a bit freestyle as we approach. 25.8 Ks to go, and indeed they've refilled 2 of the vanes on the windmill. More on that later. We'll be back. 55 seconds only. So let's explain the golden kilometre to those of you who missed it on stage 1. There is 1 kilometre divided into 3 intermediate sprints that all come in very short order. And at those points, each crossing of those lines, so 330 kilometres, 330 metres each, one can imagine, over the golden kilometre, you have a chance, Brian, of picking up some bonus seconds, and that's what the golden kilo is all about. 3, 2 and 1 seconds available to those that cross the line, so the lion's share of the time is indeed worth having, especially if you're Elmar Reinders, who's 48 seconds down, or indeed Christian Curran. He's also 46 seconds down, and Sander Cordial is 47 seconds down. Will they duke it out? I don't think Pierre Allegart will go for it, but stranger things have happened, and we will be there, Brian, in about 1,400 metres time.
Yeah, the situation is most of these riders, 9 seconds, I don't think is going to make too much of a difference to their time. We're just coming up to 500 metres to go to the first one. We just turn right here, and then they'll come in quick succession. Do you really want to sprint hard and split this group up? I know you've only got 55 seconds, but I think they really have to think about keeping this together.
I think so. Somebody will want to go for it because there's prize money up for grabs as well, and that counts for an awful lot, especially if you're one of the minor teams that have got the invite here, such as Sport Vlaanderen, Roompot, Wanty, or indeed Veranda's Villains, 4 of which are represented here. World Tour, of course, Cannondale Drepack, maybe not as important, but nonetheless, looks like, in fact, I thought it was going to be Cannondale Take It. Freddie Baccarat decides that he'd quite like to get at least under the minute mark as far as it's concerned, and in fact is pushing on. And just to mark him out, Elmar Reinders has decided that he's going to have some fun as well. There are 3 sprints here, we remind you. 1 down, 3 seconds bonus. Do you want to come and join the fun, he says? And Elmar Reinders says, yeah, I'm up for this.
Yeah, a little bit of surprise that they've started to have a go at each other here, because there's very little to gain out of this. But Baccarat and Reinders looking for seconds, maybe to move up a little bit in the overall general classification. But so far to go. I don't think in the first sprint there, Baccarat takes it from Reinders. The others just going to roll across the line. It's the more interest in trying to keep it together, but Baccarat and Reinders think otherwise, and the second sprint coming up very quickly now.
You know what, I thought this was the 3rd sprint, but there you go. They are rather wrapped together. They need to have a little countdown for, you know, those of little brains such as myself. But anyway, it's between this pair, and it looks like Freddie Baccarat is decided to take the lion's share. Reinders raced for this on the opening day, when he was also in the break, along with Pierre Allegart, who seemed to content himself more with, and they just roll through it, more with picking up the Primus advantage. And in fact, I think that's it, Brian. So there we are. We'll see if there's another one, and you're right. If there isn't, I was right.
Okay, maybe it was an attack to try and get rid of the other two and try to go to the finish, but I just can't see the point with the best placed Christian Korn in the Cannondale colours at the back here. He had the most to gain, sitting 46 seconds down at the start of the day. I think it might have been attacked just to try and foil the other ones, get rid of the other three riders and try and ride on into the stage, but they're all back together now.
Well, it wasn't exactly the most dramatic moment. I was right, by the way, with those air bridges. You need to count your bridges, mate, before you burn them. 55, getting a stare now. 55 seconds it is, the gap, and 23.5 kilometres from home. And so we'll have a bit of a hiatus right now. If we are going to take a break, then it's possibly an apposite time to take it, because we are going to be full-on racing, Brian, on the approach. And in fact, you can see there's a difference in pace right now. The breakaway's had its fun, and basically this gap is going to start to come down.
Yeah, it's just kind of holding round about the 1 minute mark. Still enough time to bring these riders back as we get the results.
Yep, there it is. Backert, Corrin and Egert at sprint number 1. 3, 2 and 1 bonus seconds. Do you think they could place this any closer to the finish line and actually draw out a bit more response, or put it at the top of the day? Sprint 2, Backert, Reinders, Allegert, 3, 2, 1 bonus seconds. And sprint number 3, Backert, Reinders and Corrin this time. Corrin nips in for a little second.
I'm afraid that's all they get. That's all they get is the seconds. No prize money up for grabs for that competition.
There you go. So with 22 kilometres and a little bit more of today remaining, 55 seconds, the pace is starting to pick up, and in fact we're looking at team colour order right now. Dimension Data starting to have some fun. Who are they going to work for today? Gibbons?
I can think it'll be Gibbons, but Lotto NL up towards the front with Bram Tankink and was it Pocahontas or what was that?
I'm not quite sure. They bought themselves a 1957 Splitty camper van. They take it to the Tour de France to Flanders, put a pretty young girl on top with a fluffy toy, and they get on telly every time.
So it wasn't Pocahontas?
Every time, no.
Okay.
I don't know who she is, but she's... the cameras love her. There you go. And why not? You know, there are worse things to look at, like, I don't know, maize fields. But anyway, if you want to get on TV, get yourself a camper van, get on the roof, wave with a gonk. You know, easy publicity for whatever. They don't seem to be advertising anything. You know, that's their credit. Anyway, we speculate, but you'll see that maroon Splitty very often. Anyway, we're going to take ourselves a commercial break while they build up to the big finale. We'll see them cross the start-finish line again at pace. That will be with only 15.4 kilometres to go. And then all hell's going to break loose, I am certain. He's on the radio. I don't know what he's asking for. Well, he's stuck with those legs. He can't change those. Let's hope that they spin up nicely for him. So we'll take that break, and then we'll be back for the finale, ad-free to the line.
What is this place?
The Modern Software Factory, a hub of digital trips.
Diminishing 34 seconds. Éditeur Le Mondial have put on the hurt, and I'm afraid the man who's been stung here is Ryan Gibbons of South Africa for Dimension Data. He's been caught off the back. He's got a technical, I believe it's a puncture. Meanwhile, no diminution at all in the pace, and this is looking lively. Katusha want to light it up for Plankett and Zabel. Zabel finished 6th on day 1. I believe he is the chosen son, so Baptiste Plankett will be building bridges for Zabel today. We'll see. 36 seconds, 38 now. The breakaway have picked up the pace just a little bit. It's more difficult for a big bunch such as this to get through some of the narrowing sections. There are some pinch points, and the worst of them comes after the start-finish line. Others just starting to chug out there, probably job done, but this does not bode well. Ian Stannard could have been a big battering ram later on today. It looks like he's got himself a puncture as well. They'll be hoping for Vinyoski potentially, or maybe Danny Van Poppel. Viviani I'm not sure about after his efforts. He finished 41st on the opening stage, so We'll see whether he's motivated today. In fact, he is. Viviani is in the pack there. You can also see that Tom van Ersbroek and Wouter Wippert are looking lively for Cannondale Drapac, but I think they're working safety first for Sepp van Mark, who's got designs on the title here. 70.3 to go, Brian. We're approaching that little chicane that we're so worried about.
Yeah, well, hopefully we get to see it this time. But they're just coming over this, or the bunch are coming over this rise. But the break of 5, just about maybe about 500 metres away from this left-hand turn. And if we stay with them, we'll get a chance to see it. The gap coming down to 32 seconds. Now, a lot of the teams starting to come towards the front. Full gas, not at the front of the peloton, but AG2 are starting to ride. They're starting to think of possibly their man Oliver Naesen, the Belgian champion. He's up against it today. But this is this left-hand turn now with 1,200 metres to go.
Yeah, here we go. So that's your left-hander. Now watch out for the chicane. The motorcycle seems to be in just about the wrong place at the moment because it's the line that he's taking that these guys are going to want to. Gets a little bit technical, very, very short order. Here you go. So we're seeing it in reverse, if you like. There's the right-hander. Think of it backwards. There's your left-hander, and then you run to the line. Now, this is more like it. This next time by will be very uncomfortable. Here's the left-hander that we're talking at 1,200 metres. Let's hope we stay with these pictures. Then it's the race to the church. But look at that. It's suddenly 2 and 3 wide from about 6 wide. There is no room for error. You have to be in the right place. And indeed, you don't want too many... Well, fancy taking the helicopter away at that point. There's your chicane. It was a right-lefter. As we go and look at these guys of no consequence. Never mind. Let's hope that we get it all next time by. I think we will, because these guys are going to get caught. So they're going to sail round this sort of gentle sort of bleed left, if you like, which announces the finish line. Once we are there, we've got a double right-hander to take to get out of town. Now, I think it's a danger today, right now, when we hear the bell. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a ding-dong or a ting-a-ling. We'll see in a few moments' time as they take the bell. I'm hoping we're going to hear it or at least see it in a few moments' time. And then we've got the double right once we get past the start-finish line. I'm sure the bell needs to be starting to be rung about now. But anyway, we're hearing the beating of the hoardings instead. Oh, finally, there he is. Oh, it sounds like he's got a good old clapper going on down there. So the bell rings upon our breakaway and the clock starts to tick. And meanwhile, these guys have got to take that sort of gentle bleed to the left here at around about 250-metre mark. And then it unwinds with a view of the start-finish line. Damar's men are here, and the bellman has got a short job to do today because they're not that strung out, so don't feel too sorry for him. So they come through. I'm hoping that we see this double right in a few moments' time. It's been causing us so much worriment. 28 seconds, 29. They kept the pace back just a little bit, but the road does narrow. We go country style in a few moments' time, and it's likely to back up with that pinch, Brian, for these guys at the rear.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too much a problem for most of these riders. We've already seen it once already before, but it does narrow down just as we start to leave the town. But as we come through that the bell there, I know we're in Belgium here, but the two French teams, Française des Jeux and AG2, are now trying to take control of the front of the peloton. Just looking at the rear of the peloton, I saw Scott Thwaites and one other rider with them, so it does look as if they're trying to wait at the back to see if Ryan Gibbons can get back on and they can take him back up to the front. Yeah,
I think it's a tall order, especially this late on. Pace picking up, as you can see, and we're going to get even narrower in a few moments' time. These guys are already on the narrowest part of today's course, and in fact they go over just a little rise and then they pop out onto the big highway. There's a gentleman who looks like he's enjoyed Christmas last year. Still some work to do, Humphrey. 25 seconds, 24 now, as they'll come back and onto the highway, just sailing by the loose leaf broccoli by the looks of things. And we've got rain. This is not a drop bead on because we're in a helicopter here, so we have the suggestion of rain at the moment. This could add yet another element to the day, Brian.
Yeah, it's just going to be a very dangerous sprint if it does in fact rain, especially in that last 1,500 metres there with the technical element of it. Just looking at Ryan Gibbons has made it to the back of the peloton. He has got, looks as if he's got Scott Thwaites and Johan van Zyl to try and get him up to the point. No real panic at this moment in time because it does open up into the wide roads. There's no point pushing and shoving in this narrow road to try and get to the front. So if I was Ryan Gibbons, I would just ease fire at the moment, and then we've got onto the main road. It'll be a lot easier to be brought back to the front by his teammates.
13.4 kilometres to go, still 25-second margin to our breakaway. Who's here sprint-wise? Well, for those of you who've missed it, it's real royalty. We've got Marcel Kittel, who messed up on the opening day. We've got Viviani, who've messed up on the opening day. We've got Damar, who messed up on the opening day. We've got Greipel, who, well, I suppose by his own standards, messed up on the opening day. They've got to go better. Dylan Groenewegen, who won up the Champs-Élysées, is here. Jempi Drucker for BMC. We've got Greipel, of course, the aforementioned, for the red and white of Lotto Soudal. Kittel in the blue of Quick Step, naturally enough. Phil Bauhaus had a stunning, almost snatched the victory from Peter Sagan for Team Sunweb in the stripes, black and white. We, of course, have Viviani in his familiar sky livery, back to their usual dark blue colour, drifting away from the white that I thought looked so nice in the Tour de France. But anyway, we've got Magnus Kort Nielsen will be hoping to go well. Van Poppel for Trek Factory Systems, Boy Van Poppel that is. We will see Trek Segafredo, I beg your pardon, with Ted Tuns doing some leading out as well. Plenty of other fast men to conjure with, not least Jempi Drucker, I don't think I mentioned. Kump, Swift, why not? Vippert, Reckert, Plankert and any other Erts along the way. 30 seconds with 12.4 kilometres remaining, and there's Peter Sagan. This could well have been built for him, this finish. He likes to go freestyle, he's a good bike handler. Let's see how he goes. Well, a few more spots of rain now starting to trace across the camera here at the helicopter. It looks like it hasn't fallen with any great impact on the ground. These guys, I'm afraid, are doomed by the looks of things unless something very strange happens. Wide highway for everyone to play with. Well, we've got 5 lanes here, which is rather unusual in Belgium. Despite all the trucks delivering potatoes and the like, they have to make this turn with a little bit of street furniture, and some will be caught out. Let's watch the bunny hopping, shall we, as they get to this with our finally fully furled windmill. I told you we were going to see it again. And here they are, locked together. They can't all stay like that because there is a little bit of street furniture to deal with, and they're all skirmishing out the front. Everyone wants a proper view of this turn. Each one becomes ever more important.
Yeah, no real danger at the moment. The gap only 26 seconds, and a lot of the teams kind of trying to save their powder dry a little bit. Obviously, a little bit more pressure on the likes of Quick Step Floors in the blue to come up a little bit earlier. They're outfoiled in the first stage, sitting back too long, but I don't think these riders will be able to stay away. But still, with 11.2 kilometres to go to the finish, a long way to put your whole team towards the front, and for your sprinter. But you still have a few of the teams looking after their GC contender and trying to keep out of trouble. I did notice that Viviani was being looked after towards the front of the group, but just on the right hand side you can see Scott Thwaites and Johan van Zyl of Dimension Data there, so they have got their man back to the front. Yeah, they have. Good job for them. Van Esbroek Vibbert in a good place as well. Katusha Alpecin working for Plankert and Rick Zabel. I think it's Rick Zabel will be their chosen son today. Brian, I know on stage one I beat you up choosing Sagan with a side bet of Phil Bauhaus. Who are you going for today? Sagan and Phil Bauhaus. I think Kittel. I think Quick Step have to get it right today, and I think Kittel will be the man that has been told he needs to win today. I'm going to go for Andre Greipel today, just because I like Andre Greipel and I'd like to see him win. I think he needs cheering up, so that's the reason for that. Any cheeky side bet? Cheeky side bet, I'll just go for the man that punctured Ryan Gibbons. Hey, nice. I like that. That would be a story. I'm going to go, it's hardly a side bet, but I'm going to go for Dylan Groenewegen of Team Lotto. All right then. Honestly. Magnus Kort Nielsen. There we are. 10 kilometres out. I know it's not really a cheeky side bet, but I'm sticking with it. 22 seconds now with 10 kilometres to go, and our break
is having some fun. Hopefully you are at home too. I love this race. In its first incarnation, of course, as the Eneco. I know it was called other things in its very first incarnation, but anyway. But now sponsored by BinckBank, it's got a future to it, which is great because it's a terrific race. And in fact, a sort of an amalgamation of many classics towards the end of it. Is going to bring you some yet more fun. They're starting to dive bomb up the inside, and Lotto Jumbo, the ones who are being tempted. And the reason is, look at this big compression right now. They've got work to do to reassemble themselves. That's going to knock back Dylan Groenewegen's hopes, I am sure. How many lead-out men do you need to have with you when you're through that technical section, which unwinds at the Flamme Rouge?
You probably need two would be the perfect thing, but I think it's going to be very difficult for that. So as soon as you come through that chicane, if you've got to list one teammate there and the speed is up, then that'll be okay. But what concerned me about that overhead shot was the blue jerseys of Quick Step Floors were still far down the peloton. Yeah,
they're just not getting it together at the moment. It's almost like a gentleman's excuse me as far as Marcel Kittel is concerned. He's already been back to the car as well, as if to issue a complaint, and that's never a good sign. If you're going to speak to the car, then get on the blower, speak on the radio and have a chat. I don't know why he went back. It was no technical issue, Brian. It was basically just well, clearly a problem of some sort.
Yeah, we don't know. That's the information we do not get, but sometimes it's easier to talk to your sports director kind of face-to-face rather than through the radio. But this gap coming down, so these 5 riders in front of Corin, Allegert, Reinders, Backert and Corday will be brought back. And the peloton still kind of bunching across the road. Nobody's taking it on full gas at the moment. Still a long way to go, 8.5 kilometres, but there'll be a lot of teams trying to get in order now.
I'm wondering whether Cheeky Tibet wouldn't be Richesi today then, if Kittel's not up for it. Might well be a suggestion of that by the way that they're stacking up at the moment. Their team does not look comfortable, but then again there'll be some nerves out there because they want to function, especially in this kind of roster, if you like, of great sprinters. You have more than bragging rights here. It helps you measure your own form, especially with the Grand Tour still to come, which you'll be able to keep in touch with here on Eurosport, your home of cycling. Meanwhile, he was not content with the home within the breakaway. Our friend Almar Reinders has decided to reimpose himself very late on, 9 seconds only back to the charging peloton. I think this is for the invisible and non-existent combativity award. There he goes. But at least he's keeping us mentioning Roompot Nederlanden. Here they come then, and they are in colour order. 7.6 kilometres to go. It's going to be a lively finish, Brian, we know it.
It always is in this finish at Ardoué. Over the last few years, Sagan won it last year in a very messy sprint when the breakaway was caught in the finishing straight. Bonin won it in 2005, into 2014 Nasser Bahani won it. So the break is just about to be caught with just over 7 kilometres to go, although we've got a couple of them trying to kind of hang on. So it's going to be a very interesting sprint, but can the team of Quick Step Floors deliver Kittel for a potential victory? Are they going to continue to sit back? Just sitting in about 20-25th place at the moment, allowing the other teams to kind of dominate the front of the peloton.
It's opened up with Quick Step, with Katusha, I beg your pardon, going over to one side of the road, opening a void into which has sailed Arnaud Demar and Francis Desjeux. He missed out last time by. They're not going to make the same mistake, I'm sure, this time. Well, we shall see, shall we? Look at this, they're leaning onto each other already, and Quick Step trying to reassemble themselves and doing a decent job of it, albeit with other teams in front of them just for the time being. Ollie Nason from AFG Tour La Mondiale is in a good safe place as the rain starts to come down and strafe the lens here of our helicopter. 6.6 kilometres out. And it's getting lively, and Sky have decided that they are going to do a lot of chasing work. Riccardo Minali it would be for Astana. They've got themselves up there, just trying to wonder as to, I think there's just principles for deeper into this race, but they haven't got too many options, I'm afraid, because De Vries is almost a minute down after the time trial. Here we go. Safety first then for some, but others have a sprint option today, and we'll see how this one plays out. UAE for the first time. Andrea Gardini, perhaps. Maybe Ben Swift or Marco Kump for them. So we're on both sides of the road, and you can't play with this, and Kittel looks isolated, Brian.
Yeah, Kittel is right up towards the front now in the middle of the picture. Sagan to the left-hand side, he's got Bodnar in front of him, but no teammates yet for Kittel to help him.
Well, they're on the left-hand side of the road doing it themselves. Kittle's on the right, isolated, and I think it might well be for Richesi today. We'll see. Maybe he's been back and said, give the man a go. And he will. Well, tongue out. Hungry horse Stiley, 5.5 kilometres to go, and Trek doing the power work at the moment for Boy van Poppel. He had a decent finish, 5th last time by, but here comes the yellow and black of Groenewegen and Team Lotto Jumbo. Not to be outdone, Bora want a part of this, and the German champion powers to the front. Of course, on behalf of Peter Sagan, Marcus Burkhardt laying it on the line with 5.2 to go. Now, this is about position. You've got to be in a good place, and as far as I can see, Marcel Kittel is in the wrong place at the moment. We'll see whether he suddenly reveals himself later on. 5.1 to go. The crucial point, Brian, is at 1.2 from home.
I think the crucial thing as well is the roads are starting to get a little bit wet now.
Yep.
And that will cause a major problem, and everybody will know that, and it'll string everybody out with that left hand on chicane. So it's very, very important now. It was already kind of dicey in the dry. Now the rain is coming down, and it makes the road surface a little bit wet. That adds a big danger. So you can just see the yellow jerseys of Groenewegen's team starting to come to the front. So I think these teams will come to the front sooner rather than later because of the conditions now.
Phil Bauhaus have got a great finish for the men in black and white, Team Sunweb, and indeed they're starting to show their nose right now, and there they are just ahead of the golden helmet of Bahrain Merida at the moment. Bahrain Merida just working for Bolla, I believe. 4.4 kilometres, a little less than that right now. The rain's coming down good and proper. Now, a good handler is, of course, Peter Sagan. We said if it was wet, then he's almost a shoo-in. There he is, stalking, as you can see, in the rainbow stripes of the world champion, with two Bora teammates out in front of him. Now, he can corner well, he can hold the bike up when others are letting it go. He's got this nasty left-hander coming up in just about 2.5 kilometres time. Then we have the chicane round the church, and then the run for the line. He's a man who often goes freestyle, Peter Sagan, and he won't burn his teammates too much. He'd rather see a clear view than the back end of one of his team.
Well, he's doing the best thing now. He's right up there towards the front. He's sitting at third wheel, just coming up to this first right-hander now. But when I look at where Kittel is, Kittel's not even in the top 30.
Look at how slowly they're taking this. I think Kittel struck himself out today. I think he's going to lead it to Max Richesi to have a dig. And they pick it up on the exit. And there we are. My goodness, this is getting very sketchy. They don't trust the surface, Brian. That's the point.
No, there's so many white lines there. It's going to be a treacherous sprint, and you have to really take this one from the front. And that's why Bodnar is riding on the front in the blue jerseys, the points jersey. Sagan sitting third wheel. It's a perfect situation for them. You don't want to be vying for position and having too many riders in front of you. But I still think that Bora Hansgrohe needs a bit more firepower as Team Dimension Data. Try to push coming up on the right-hand side, but in the middle you get Lars Bohm of Lotto NL Jumbo.
Yeah, I think Andrea Gardini is going to have a go today. Francis Fischer working hard here. I think maybe Gagneri. I can't see Arnaud Demar just for the time being. In fact, now I can. He's a French tricolor just coming up and indeed steaming through with two teammates. This Arnaud Demar clearly fancied it. He's not a bad, he's a good bike handler himself, Arnaud Demar. He will fancy having a go. Maybe somebody else, somebody further down the line for rounders villains like Wout van Aert, the cyclocrosser. In these kind of conditions, who knows? So, on the approach right now, they've got about a race to the point, I think it's fair to say. With 2,200 metres remaining, they have essentially, this is the Flamme Rouge before the technical part, if you see what I mean. So a race before the race will really open up, and that's the reason why the hurry-up is on right now. Andre Greipel won't like this at all. His cornering ability has had some big question marks, but he's getting himself into position right now, and in fact he's up towards the ford, just on the other side, just out of picture at the moment. Orica Scott also here. Kluger or Kort Nielsen? Well, I said Kort Nielsen, it could well be he today. 1.9 remaining, so about 700 metres remaining then until we take that pesky left-hander, and Sagan's in a near-perfect position, hoboing on somebody else's train. It happens to be Trek Segafredo who's behind.
Yeah, but you can look at the helicopter shot there at Demar. Demar's not even in the top 20. A lot of these sprinters kind of sitting back now. They know what's coming up. This is getting very treacherous, and you know, a big worry now as Kitto's been brought up towards the front on the left-hand side now.
Sepp van Mark, big friend frame of he has come up to for Cannondale Drapac as well. We're well in the safety zone, but he wants to play the game. Groeneweghen's getting dragged into position right now as well in the yellow and black of Lotto Jumbo on the left-hand side of your screen. But who's got what? And it looks like Bauhaus is ready to invest. He's dead centre of your screen right now. There are others also coming to play. And strangely, Bert van Lerbacher, who doesn't mind these conditions for Topsport Vlaanderen. There is a turn at 1500. We wait for the 1200. In fact, I think that may well have been it. I think the ticker may well be out, Brian.
Yeah, we're just coming into the chicane now with the quick step floors on the front. Lotto NL Jumbo just behind, and they can now round this with caution.
Yes, indeed. That's the Flamme Rouge, by the way, not 1.2. The ticker's wrong.
Doubt.
Oh, and it had to happen, did it not? Touch of wheels at a crucial moment. And there it is. Well, we knew that the road surface was getting skiddery. There's the Flamme Rouge, and it's all opened up out front. Groeneweghen's in a great position as we stand at the moment, and they're starting to go for it. It is Richesi that's going to go for this for quick step floors, and Drucker just pales off the front, and I think possibly sails away in diminished company here. He's got a big chance.
Yeah, Drucker's going for it now. Everybody's looking around. That crash and that kind of crazy bit of the finish has caused problems, and now everybody's trying to get organised, and it's maybe a little bit too late.
Yes, I think so. And Jempe Drucker's sprung it. He's on that gentle left-hand drive right now, and I think it looks like everybody else has decided that there's no catching of Drucker. He's got about 250 metres to go. They're starting to pick up pace behind him, as you can see. Peter Sagan still very much has an interest. There goes Bauhaus as well, who's lining it up. Sagan stays on Bauhaus's wheel. 250 metres, and I think Drucker's going to run out of pace here. Bauhaus picks it up. Sagan one side. They're going to spear either side of him. They round Drucker right now. Sagan's got this by the looks of things. Who's he going to trace to the line? Nobody's going to get back at Sagan, I don't think. Oh, close it was with Rudy Barbier finishing nicely, but Peter Sagan raises his hand in the air. Well, Barbier comes up, offers him a handshake, but, well, in sketchy conditions, you need to be in the right place, and he was at the right time, and Sagan makes it 2-stage wins here on the BinckBank.
2 in a row, 2016.